So yes, it is true. You can spend thousands of rands on renovations and never see a return on your investment. The biggest mistake that beginner property investors make is renovating their investment properties to become the best within their area. They splurge on luxury renovation finishing touches, forgetting that it should match the neighborhood's value and also making sure that it does hit your benchmark when it comes to your return on investment.
So after flipping multiple properties and also assisting people selling their properties, I can tell you this: spending 269 Rand 90 per meter squared instead of 69 Rand 90 per meter squared on tiles might sound like a good idea, but in a neighborhood where properties are only selling for 400,000, it is a waste of money. So let me save you from making costly mistakes. In this video, we will show you exactly how to avoid making these costly mistakes and save you some money.
Before investing into renovation, these are the top 3 things that you need to consider. Number 1, how much you paid for the property. Number 2, how much could you possibly sell that property? And number 3, how much will these renovations cost you? This will guide you to making smart renovation decisions to maximize on your returns.
Would you pour 200,000 of cash into renovations for a property that you purchased for 450,000 only to find out that the market value of that property is only worth 500,000? Exactly. Let's be strategic. The second factor to consider is the functionality of the house. Check if the plumbing is up to standard. The second thing that you're going to be checking is, are there any leaks on the property? Thirdly, we are looking for those structural issues on the property. And lastly, which is very important, understand if the electricity or the wiring of that property is up to standard. If any of these problems do exist, they should be your first priority before you start with the aesthetics. Imagine having a poor drainage system that always blocks after 2 weeks, but now you have those black expensive taps. Doesn't really make sense.
Remember, when you're selling a property, you're not just selling the house, but you're also selling the perception of the value of that property. That is why before making any renovations, we need to deal with the basics. We need to make sure that the property is clean and well presented.
Simple upgrades like staging and landscaping could make a huge difference in terms of how the buyers will perceive the value of your property. Now let's get into the renovations that actually make sense and what to also avoid.
So let's start with the bathroom, especially if it's outdated or if it was poorly maintained. So bathtubs, if they are poorly maintained over a certain number of years, they do kind of change color as a result of the dirt building up. Now, if the structure of the bathtub as a whole is still in a good condition, you can now consider calling someone who'll refurbish it by painting over it instead of buying a whole new bathtub.
I mean, let's think about it. Would you rather spend 2,000 to just get someone to respray the bathtub, labor inclusive, or pay 15,000 labor inclusive to replace the entire set? I mean, picture this. Say you have a set that is all blue, and now it happens that your bathtub is the one that has to be replaced. Now, after replacing the white bathtub, you go to the toilet that also needs to be replaced. Now the toilet is pink. You have 3 different colors in your bath. It doesn't make sense.
Renovating your bathroom typically yields return on investment from about 70% to a whopping 90%. I love the sound of that. So if we're spending 15,000 on bathroom renovation, we can then expect from about 10,500 to 13,500 in interest.
When it comes to selling your property, the kitchen plays a very crucial role. And trust me, it could make or break the sale. So that's why you shouldn't compromise on the kitchen. So people say that the kitchen actually is the one that sells the home. Let's be honest, they are right. Like we did before, we will give you the cost-efficient solution and then also back it up with the more expensive alternative. The budget-friendly option would need the kitchen to still be intact, but still needs to be renewed. What you can do is to replace the current doors. Now, replacing the current doors and making them look more modern, it gives the kitchen a more modern look. In some areas, you don't even need to put a marble countertop. What you could do is buy wood that looks like it's marble, however, it's not marble. Remember, those are also strong if you're buying it from a reputable place.
However, in some cases, the cabinets may be too damaged to salvage. So in this case, if you have to replace them completely, kitchen cabinets might be something that you'd want to do late in your renovation process. Because remember something, if plastering and also your tiling is done after the kitchen cabinets have been placed, this might cause damage to your brand new cabinets. So make sure that the paintwork and flooring matches the cabinet for a cohesive look.
A modern kitchen doesn't have to cost a fortune. With the right experience, small changes can make a big impact. Renovating kitchen cabinets typically yields a return on investment of around 80 to 90%. So if we have invested 30,000 into a property, we could expect a return on investment of around 24,000 to 27,000.
So when it comes to tiling, it's not a must that every project we need to replace tiles, especially if they are still in good condition and still have that modern feel. So when it comes to the more expensive alternative, right, is that we need to make sure that the house looks seamless by making sure that we use the same type of color and the same type of tile throughout the house. But be aware that one of the biggest expenses when it comes to renovating a house will be tiling, especially if we are to replace the tiles of the entire property.
Now, before we continue, if you like this type of content, consider subscribing to our channel for more property investing information.
As we did mention earlier, that tiling is very expensive, so we should consider the market value of the property before doing any renovation, especially when it comes to tiling. The price that we can sell our home should guide us when it comes to the type of tiles that we will be selecting. Avoid overcapitalizing, especially if it will not yield ROI.
What we can take from this is that it's all about balance. So spend enough to increase the value, but not too much to lose your profits. Fresh upgrades can give your home a fresh, updated feel and typically give you a return on investment of around 80% to 100%. So if you spend around 70,000 on your property, you could be looking at a return on investment of 56,000 to 70,000.
So a fresh coat of paint can be very pricey, but it's very necessary. So you're looking for that highest return on investment on your property, that bucket of paint could be our best bet. So when it comes to choosing paint colors, stick to neutral colors like white, light gray, or even beige. Avoid personalized colors because that might not be the favorite color when it comes to your target market or potential buyers to your property.
Painting is one of the easiest upgrades that you can DIY, especially if you have a tight budget. However, if the wall has cracks, stains, or old wallpapers, it is important for you to prepare the wall before you start painting. Fill the cracks, remove the peeling paints on the walls, and make sure that the wall is smooth before you start painting.
Think of paint like a fresh haircut. When done right, instantly makes everything look better. A well-painted property instantly looks new and can instantly impact the perceived value market of their property. The best part is that a fresh coat of paint can offer up to 100% of return on investment when done right. So if we are to spend 30,000 including labor on painting, we can get that 30,000 back in ROI if done correctly.
The rule of thumb when flipping a property is to always remember that this is not your holiday home, but at the same time, we are not trying to cut costs to extent of buying the most cheapest material in the area that will make the new owner call you after 2 months saying that the house has burned down because of the electrical wiring was not good. We are balancing the two, and most important, considering the return on investment. If you are looking to flip a property, then you should definitely watch this video.